Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Broads. I expect this to be more of a quick hit than a full episode, but I just want to share my thoughts on what transpired at the Wells Fargo Center Monday night when Michkov had an opportunity to respond to Tortorella after he got healthy scratched 2 games in a row in Florida. It was everything I expected because Matvei is a stud, because Matvei Michkov is a superstar, because this kid is special. And let me be very clear. The reason why he was +2, the reason why he had a 5-on-5 goal, the reason why he had a ridiculous assist on a tic-tac-toe power play goal had everything to do with his ability to be dominant. And it had way less to do with John Tortorella being a genius. It had way less to do with the fact that he watched from up above. A couple days off, sure. I'm aware that the San Jose Sharks played the New Jersey Devils just a little bit of time prior to playing the Flyers, and there is wear and tear in that situation. Sure, maybe a couple of days off is going to give a little burst, but that doesn't make it important enough to take him off the ice to gather information on what it's like to compete against a stacked team like Florida, to compete against a really good team in the Tampa Bay Lightning. That matters. That's extremely valuable, and that's what's going to make him thrive even more in this league. I will never accept what Torts did. I will always believe it was dumb, and Matvei Michkov and his skill set and his ability to dominate on the ice is the real reason why he excelled and put the team on his back to help beat the Sharks. Are the Sharks super sensational? No, absolutely not. They are not. But when you have a 3-0 lead and when it slips away because Nick Seeler does a dumb job of dropping the mitts, which gave the Sharks some sort of life, and before you know it, it's 3-2 with the final frame to go, and you wonder, how the hell is this team crawling back like this? It's unacceptable. Ursa made some big saves. The Flyers probably had 1,000 different chances to score more, so the score could have been significantly more in favor of the Flyers. Maybe a 3-4-5 goal lead after 3-0. I'm saying make it 5-0, make it 6-0, make it 4-0. It could have been that much of a blowout, but they could not bury. They did not have that clutch gene to put it in the damn twine. But regardless, the story becomes one thing, and that's the fact that Michkov pretty much flipped John Tortorella the double bird by going out there and making it happen. And what I will not do is give Tortorella credit. What I will not do is somehow try and tie this together where because Tortorella did X, Y, and Z, Matvei Michkov did X, Y, and Z. No, Matvei Michkov was doing this prior. He was doing this prior. He had 10 points in 13 games, and he was the National Hockey League's Rookie of the Month. What I saw, even though his 5-on-5 play wasn't super insanely crisp and just outstanding to a T, the whole team was playing poorly. Now the whole team is playing better. I'm not going to pin some of the failures of the beginning of the season when we were wondering if they're going to have another 10-game losing skid in the early frame here. It's not all being pinned on him. He wasn't perfect, but the reason why it looked better in Tampa, the reason why it looked better in Florida, it wasn't, oh, you remove Michkov and now they're playing some great brand. They almost got shut out in Tampa when you remove one of your best point producers. It just so happened that Owen Tippett came alive and had an awesome backhander to beat Vasilevsky, and then you're able to get a point in overtime and even steal the second one. Going 1-1-1 against Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Florida, and then winning and getting 2 points against San Jose is a nice turn for sure. But a lot of this also goes back to, I don't think they were as putrid as they were playing when you lose 6, 7, however many it got to in a row. I forgot how many it was. Last year wasn't just a mirage. There is still some of that in the DNA of this team. And when they started out the year vomiting all over themselves, there's a middle ground here where I'm sure at some point it'll even itself back out, where we will see better production, better play. And the reason I bring this up is picking on Matvei Michkov 5-on-5. I always thought it was ludicrous, and putting the crosshairs on him, that it was such a major issue because of him. When the team starts to figure it out a little bit, just let him play through it. Let the team play through it. And now we are watching them play better overall. And Michkov was always going to be better 5-on-5. He was always going to be better 5-on-5 because he's a great player who deserves the ice time. Let the what is it called? The pendulum? Let that swing. I think that's the right word. I make up stuff half the time. But come on. Let it swing. It's going to get back to... Michkov was going to be okay. He was going to be great. And you robbed him of the opportunity of gaining minutes and getting action to keep working and mucking and competing against really strong opponents down in Florida. I value those minutes. I value those shifts. I value those power play opportunities with him out there alongside Andre, who looks to be super intriguing. So, that's sort of just my overall thoughts on it. It's nice to have Urson back. He made some big saves. He's legit. I got into a little argument with my dad about it because he's a hockey guy. All right, without him, I wouldn't be the hockey guy that I am today. And he's old school for sure. He looks at Urson, though, and goes, I don't see it. And I'm like, dude, you're nuts. He goes, yeah, I think he's probably just a really good backup, more so than a starter that really puts your franchise in a good position. And I disagree. How many times do I have to have this fight with people? I feel like it's nonstop. Whenever I run into someone and we talk puck, it seems to be one of the hottest topics outside of Torts and Michkov is the goalie. And it makes sense when you have to see Fedotov and Kolosov in the net night to night when Urson was injured. But you don't see the difference he makes. You don't see how he is definitely a strong goalie. And it's not because the alternatives that we're mentioning are so disgusting that he looks that much better. He's a legitimate NHL goalie. I don't know what to tell you. His ceiling's only getting higher and higher as I continue to watch him play. He's super young. He's still got ways to go, and for him to get even better and even sharper and even more sound, but he looks to be in control of the crease and in control of the net. I really like what I see from Urson. I do think that he could become a legitimate NHL starting goalie on a team, that competes in the playoffs. I do think that highly of Urson. Why do I always have to have this fight with people? Not that today is the day to necessarily discuss Urson. It really comes down to number 39. But you could tell he's got that it factor, right? Because he buries that shootout goal and he does this thing again where he opens up his arms and he looks at the crowd, and you could even hear the fan reaction. When you hear the Wells Fargo Center erupt because of him and how he's able to make a play and how he's able to create a spark and how he's able to get a breakaway to then bury, all right, and just put it 5-hole nicely. All business. No reason to get cute. Here I am. I'm working. I got a free pass, and I'm just going to go right where I need to. 5-hole. No deke. No Michigan. Goes behind the net. Does a Michigan. Torts would fire him into the sun and make him sit for 19 games. Hey, listen. If the San Jose Sharks took advantage of the power play when Michkov went up high, who knows? Who knows how Torts would have reacted to that? Didn't happen, though. Didn't happen. What I saw was greatness. What I saw was a rush that started off in the defensive zone as a unit and then became an Eric Johnson joining the rush and scores a bingo of all people. Then he drops the gloves standing up for Michkov. You see what Michkov's presence does? Michkov's presence is legit. It is serious. And I demand him to be in that damn lineup every single day unless there is a physical reason why he is incapable of lacing up the skates. I want him to play every day, every single day. This narrative that he's 19 and because he's 19, he needs some time off, he needs to rest. You know what that is? That's the hockey world admitting they want to be the NBA. I'm sure if you ask all these hockey people about load management and how the Sixers handle Embiid and how Kawhi Leonard goes, they say, oh, that's a load of crap. If you're healthy, you should be out there. Yet with Matvei Michkov, all of a sudden, hold on, we want him to play about 60 games because he's not ready to play 82. No, he is. He is. If you think he's not ready because he's 19 to take on this type of workload, then he shouldn't be here. Or you have to look at me in the eyes and admit that the NBA is right on how they handle their regular seasons because you value rest and getting the guys right to play to their comfort level. That's what the NBA does, right? Hey, you're comfortable. You want to play 50 or 60 games? Okay, hey, whatever you want to do. Well, that's the approach you're taking with the young kid. He's 19. Hey, you're not 38. All right, 38, you're worn down. I'm sure Patrick Marleau and Joe Pavelski and Joe Thornton at the back end after you play 40-something years, okay? It's like, dude, I can't hang anymore. That'll wear you down over 82. At 19, yeah, it's physical. It's bigger bodies. There's less time and space. I get that. I do get that. I promise you, he is in better condition than you're giving him credit for. I'm not talking just about endurance. I'm just talking about everything. Physically, mentally, all of it. He's a game changer. Game changers are different. He's a star. Stars are different. There's nothing better than in-game experience. Nothing. Nothing trumps in-game experience. So let's not hit the panic button, Torts, every time he might go through a 2 or 3 game spell that is a little bit less than what we expect him to be because we expect him to be so unbelievable. Keep letting him have at it. Keep letting him have at it. I got a comment saying you can't allow for him to do whatever he wants and allow for him to run the asylum. That's not what that is. That's not what that is. The season, whether you want to admit it or not, is less about the team of the Flyers, and it's more about Matvei Michkov. I hate to break it to you, but that's how this goes. There are other variables. Cam York's growth as he's battling an injury, Andre, Tyson Forster, Owen Tippett. There's more than just him. But reality is to get this franchise back on track, to get this franchise where we need them to be, it's about number 39. Tippett is going to be fine in this league. He's not carrying your franchise. I like Forster a ton. I don't project him to carry a franchise. Hell, TK is amazing. TK is a legitimate weapon in the NHL. That can't carry a franchise. And he's good. Really, really good. Michkov has something that is so different. And the way you handle this is you allow for him to be different. You allow for him to have the opportunity to be different on a night-to-night basis. Sometimes it'll work. Sometimes it won't work. But when you have the it factor, you have different leverage. Sidney Crosby early on, Alexander Ovechkin early on, those type of cats, it's different for them when you compare the alternative as Morgan Frost or Scott Lawton or Paling or Hathaway or Tippett or anyone else. If you don't see what he's capable of being and the mountain that he can reach at the tippy top, you're nuts. And I don't believe the best way to do it is for John Tortorella to handle it the way he's been handling it. Right or wrong, the fact that it's Torts, even if there is a positive message spun to Michkov, who could barely speak English, and now we have interpreters on cell phones. Did I see that correctly? Interpreters on cell phones in the post-game pressers, which is just a little wacky in my eyes. But the messenger, whether they try and spin it positive or not, when the messenger is Torts, it automatically is viewed one way because of his history, because of his past, because of how he has done it with previous spots in his career. So I just think it is absolutely nuts to take him out of the lineup. It just is nuts. I blacked out there because I couldn't even believe that was real. But it was real. He did it. And I would expect for him to do it again. And it will be disgusting when he does it again. But this is what Matvei Michkov is capable of doing. And he put it on display for the whole world to see. All right, let's slip in a phone call here. I'll just mix in one as the Flyers win in the shootout against San Jose last night. Let's take a listen.
Everyone's going real crazy about this game. And to be honest with you, I don't know what the hype's about. I mean, they just squeaked by the worst team in hockey. They blew a 3-0 lead to them. They probably should have lost in overtime. I mean, I don't understand at all why everyone's so excited. Oh, I guess because Michkov's back. He came back and scored on the worst team in the NHL after being benched for 2 games. I'm not buying it. I mean, that was just a good start for the first period, and then after that, it was just pathetic hockey, and, it's going to go under the rug because Michkov scored.
Well, what are you not buying? That would be my question. What are you not buying? Are we all randomly deciding that this team is now elite all of a sudden because they beat San Jose in the last 3 or 4 games, haven't been abysmal? I think this is what the team is. I do think they're more of the competitive, hardworking team that showed up over the last 3 or 4 games, and that gets you a 2-1-1 record-ish. And, they squeeze by Tampa. They'll probably drop a game that they should win, that they lose. But then, like I said, the counter to that is you win a game that you probably shouldn't win, like you did in Tampa in the shootout. I don't know. I mean, Michkov is putting up 2 points and scoring a shootout goal to help secure the dub. That's what the season's all about. So if you can enjoy Matvei Michkov taking over, even if it's against a bad opponent, that's what good players do. It kind of reminds me of all the criticism of him only scoring on the power play early on for a lot of his points. And I go, okay, well, look at Stamkos, look at Ovechkin, look at Crosby, look at Makar, look at any of these guys that are great in the league, while they also do have production 5-on-5, and I anticipate Michkov to improve in that area. They all score on the power play. The job of having a man advantage is putting it in the back of the net. They couldn't do that at all. Now we have a kid who can, and we're angry that he's only doing that and not doing things in other areas. To me, that's crazy. So while this is a rough opponent, what are you supposed to do against a rougher opponent? And someone mentioned that the Sharks actually, if you look at what they've done as of late, it's not as bad as their record indicates. I mean, they're 5-9-3. They were never going to be super great, but they beat the Sharks. They beat the Devils. They beat the Blue Jackets. I mean, it's not that great. They beat the Blackhawks. They beat the Kings. They beat the Utah Hockey Club. So, they've won a few games. a few games. I don't know what the math is. Maybe they won 3 out of 5 or something like that. Just scanning it with my eyeball super quickly during the show. you're supposed to kill these teams. And when he balls out, essentially, you got to be able to enjoy that. If you can't enjoy that during a season like this where we know what the expectations are, then I don't think that there's any way for you to be set up to enjoy it. Because if you can't be excited about 3-9, that's what the season was about. Anything 3-9 related is what the season's about. The Flyers, secondary. 3-9, number one. And that's why I was as aggravated as I was when Torts decided to put the hammer down and scratch him unreasonably. But anyway, all right, everybody, that's going to do it. Like I said, super quick. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up button, and you can take me on the road with you by going to Apple Podcast and Spotify and all your podcasting platforms, and you can subscribe over there. And lastly, Garage Beer. DrinkGarageBeer.com. You don't have to worry about IPA taste in your mouth. No. It's 100% light beer. It's 1,000% quality. It's the best beer on the market. DrinkGarageBeer.com. Thank you guys all so much for kicking it, and I will catch you all on the next one.